Welcome back. Today we welcome our doctor on call, Dr. Ryan Stanton, a UK emergency physician who checks in with us a couple times a month to let us get your medical questions and answer some of those questions. And we have a pretty timely one with a lot of folks still spending time outdoors. This question was posted on our website from Chad. He says, how do I prevent the spread of poison ivy, and can my kids catch it from me? I got it last week and don't wish this on anybody. Probably what a lot of people think if they remember those cases of poison ivy.
Well, I don't blame him for not wanting this on anybody else. Poison ivy is horrible. And for the vast majority of the population, you are sensitive. Actually, poison ivy, the rash we see with poison ivy, is a hypersensitivity or contact dermatitis rash. That's just where our body reacts to the oils called urushiol, which is the oil from the poison ivy. It gets on our skin, on our clothing, and then once it gets there and touches our skin, we have a reaction. It's not actually contagious. Once the oil is gone, the rash isn't contagious, so it's not going to spread if you touch it. It's not going anywhere else. What people see as spread is actually the oil being re-exposed to the skin and those rashes being more open and coming from that. The thing that worries us and the thing that people don't realize is how long that oil can stick onto things. Clothing, tools such as shovels or rakes, gloves, things like that. It can sit there for years if you don't wash it. So you can come touch a piece of clothing 2 years after you had exposure to poison ivy, and you can actually get the rash from that. And this is a situation where man's best friend turns into more of a Benedict Arnold in that they can carry it on their skin. They won't get the rash. They don't get the uncomfortable symptoms from it, but you can pet the dog, pet the cat, and actually end up getting a rash from them.
And you were seeing some of the more common redness in the rash, but you actually brought an example of an extreme case. We warn you, this is a graphic image.
Graphic. That's nasty, and that's a really sensitive reaction to it. But that happens, and those are the ones we end up seeing in the emergency department that need to have some medications to help with the symptoms, to help with the itching more than the home remedies, which will take care of most people's symptoms. The typical over-the-counter things that will take care of most rashes. But that one right there is severe and probably needs a little steroids and little medications to help out with those symptoms.
I would say so. Our second question today comes from Megan, and she wants to know, how does an ectopic pregnancy happen and how does it get outside the womb? Good question.
That's a great question. Most people don't realize that when the ovaries release the egg, it's actually released into the belly. It's actually released from the ovary, and these little nets almost catch it and bring it in, and then it goes down into the uterus where you have your baby. Well, vast majority of cases that works, but on occasion that egg will be fertilized somewhere else in the system, and you can actually get these pregnancies in other places. Most of the time when you get these pregnancies early, they present like regular pregnancies, and either at ultrasound or with symptoms we find out that they're not where they're supposed to be, and they can be very dangerous when they're not where they're supposed to be, especially the tubal pregnancy or in that tube. It'll get large, it'll rupture, cause severe bleeding, severe symptoms, and if late enough can be fatal. We catch these early, they can be taken care of without too much problem, and usually don't result in a long-term effect. But there's something, and it's one reason when people get pregnant, they need to be checked out early to confirm that that's where it's supposed to be, that everything is proceeding as it's supposed to. Because if you catch this early, it can be taken care of pretty easily.
Great answers and some great questions. We remind you, you can always submit your questions for Dr. Stanton, our Doctor on Call, by going to the health section of WTVQ.com. Click on the health tab, and you'll see the Doctor on Call in the drop-down menu, and you can let us know what you wonder about your own health and medical questions, and he'll be back next Monday to answer some more of your questions. We'll be right back with a check of your forecast. I want to know how long this great weather is going to last. Mary Wasson has that answer.